Really great to see you all here. Did you know what Satu means? As you can see, we are two Satus now doing this thing. It actually means fairy tale. So Satu in English would be fairy tale. And we'll see if you think that all what I'm talking about is just fairy tale, or is it more truth in it. But anyway, I will tell you right now that I actually very much like to integrate my experiences and science, whatever I do, and whatever I'm speaking of. So again, this time my aim is to have both my own experiences and then some science results on this area. I can see that there is still someone aiming to get in. Let's see if I can help with that. But anyway, what I would like to do now is to please let us know where you are from, and also what the weather is like wherever you are. As you can see from my first slide, I am from Joensuu, Finland, and I know some others are from here as well. But also we have some other people from abroad, and I suppose from elsewhere in Finland. So in Joensuu it is quite grey, but I can't actually know if it's different where the other Satu is sitting at the moment. But I think the other Satu is just around 60 kilometers from where I am now. In fact, my main message can also be already seen from this slide, and it is balance. When we talk about self-leadership and well-being at work, in my opinion, it is very much about balance. And I think this little guy here is quite successful in having balance in not a very easy situation. But as entrepreneurs, I think we all know that it is not very easy either in our own lives. So this workshop is very much about sharing and discussing how we could find a better balance in our lives, and both at work and outside of work. And self-leadership is very much about that. Okay, so I will first just briefly introduce myself so that you can understand the background where I come from. I'm an entrepreneur at the company called Board Coach. Oy is in Finnish the same than LTD, so limited company. And what Board Coach does is coaching boards and coaching individuals to succeed better in board work. I also do some kind of quite basic board training. Like yesterday, I was training people who want to become board members or develop in being a board member. So we have in Finland this kind of a approved board member program that Chamber of Commerce organizes, and I do that kind of trainings too. But also I work with boards by discussing with them about issues they have, or just telling them how board work could be organized in order to make more value out of it. So mainly I'm not talking about legislation, not at least much, but more about interaction, about balance, about practices, processes, which in fact are the very same issues we will be talking about today. Also, I'm a partner at Boardman, which is also Oy or LTD, and Boardman is a network for board members, owners, managers, and we have the very same aims in Boardman than in my company. So we want to develop better board work in Finnish companies. I also do board work in practice. In fact, that is more of my time. The time I use for work is normally working as a board director or as a chair of the board. So I do the same thing in practice, or what I try to make people do in my entrepreneurship. Previously, I was a retail director, and also I've been running a training company and served as senior vice president HR in a large Finnish retail company. So it's been both normal business leadership and also HR and in particular HR development in my prior career, before I decided that I will now do something else. So I quit my main job, and it is 9 years ago now, and I started doing PhD research on board work, and then started a bit later on my own company. So it's a combination of those today too. And my PhD, you can see it's there on the right, and you can see again it's about balance. Surprise, surprise. And there I chose this picture about a feather and a stone trying to find a balance. You can find my PhD, it's openly in the net. So if you want to find the answer to this dilemma of how a feather and a stone can find balance, you need to look there. After having my PhD finished, I ended up writing a practitioner book of the same topic. So it's down there, this vuorovaikutus hallitustyön ytimessä, which in English is something about interaction at the heart of the board. So it is much about what the CEO and chair do together, and how they interact and work together, but it's also about how the whole management and the whole board can work together in order to create value. And my LinkedIn profile is over there as well, so please connect if you feel like that. But I think we could now move on to the main topic. So what is self-leadership after all? And this is a scientific definition I decided to have in here, so that it is a process by which people achieve the self-direction and self-motivation that they need to perform in whatever they have chosen to want to perform in. And self-leadership, as you well know, I'm sure, is much about finding the processes and practices and strategies that suit you in order to be both feel well, feel balanced, but also to get whatever you need to get done. So it is much about finding solutions that suit you, a set of solutions basically that suits you and helps you to lead your life in that way that helps you to get things done, but not get overloaded. I think very familiar and necessary for all of us. We will discuss that very soon. And obviously the two things or themes in the title of this presentation, self-leadership and well-being at work, they are very closely connected. I would say that self-leadership is very much the key to well-being, both at work but also in a wider meaning in life. And by finding the right strategies for you to lead yourself, you can also very much ease stress, or at least find ways how to cope with stress. So why would self-leadership then be interested or necessary? And this is a point where I thought we could stop for a moment, and I hope that you could both think for a moment that how does being an entrepreneur, or if you are not an entrepreneur, but whatever you do, and also how we see the current environment, all the changes we've had. We don't even have to think more further than a couple of years back, and what has happened to our lives, to our working environments, everything. And please consider for a moment what has happened and what does it mean for us as self-leaders. Are there new topics? Are there new challenges, new issues that we need to tackle at this point in order to succeed as a self-leader? And also, I would like you to comment either by raising your hand or just in the chat box that why is this topic important to you? Why are you here? What are the things that make this topic of importance to you? So let's stop for a moment and please comment either in chat or then raise your hand, and you will get your comment. So the other Satu has promised to see the hands, and let's see which one would be better. So I will stop now just for a few minutes and hope that you start to use the chat or comment.
So there is no reactions at the moment, so I can't see any raised hands. So let's wait so the participants can now type their comments into the chat box. So let's give them a couple of minutes so the question can be seen on the slide.
Yes,
and we would like to hear your opinions on this.
Okay, at least we have now a couple of comments, but please come along, the others as well. No hurry, you can write them and take your time. Oh, yes. All right, I think I will start to discuss this, but you can still add to this. But the first comment that no patience, hurry all the time, and input from every channel. That is actually one huge thing that is. I'm sure we all recognize this very well. That when you have all these mobile and digital tools making noises and sending messages, and it really feels that you should answer them immediately, or at least you have to look at them immediately when you hear the sound of your mobile. app saying that there is something interesting in here, and you also feel that someone is waiting quite rapidly that I should answer this. And I'm old enough, I'm 52 years now, that I remember the time when we actually had to send letters, remember, or at least then phone to a normal phone, not a mobile one, but to wait that someone would be there picking up the phone. But it was very normal to do business at the time by sending a letter and then waiting, say, for a week. That would be a rapid response if you got a response to your letter in a week. Now it's easily only minutes that you think that it should be answered, or at least we easily feel that now we should rapidly answer this. Yes, and the lots to do and time is limited. Yes, I know we all share that feeling. On the other hand, I often think it is a good thing that there are many things to do, but also it is often too much, and the balance, as the comment says in here, it's not so easy to find, but it's crucial to continuously try to find it and seek it actively. Also, how to concentrate on one thing at the time. I think it relates to this constant stream of different issues that come to us all the time, that it's very difficult to stay focused and just concentrate whatever you are doing, and you really need to decide that now I will do it. I will use the next 30 minutes only with this thing, rather than seeing what else comes around. And also this, that we must make the priorities ourselves. This is a very good comment, that others will not bring the priorities to you, or if they do, they will not be the ones that help you to feel well and feel balanced and get the best out of your time. But that is again a thing that you need to be very aware of. Okay, I think if there are no hands raised, no, I think no. I will now move on, and maybe, well, I think what I will explain next will be much about why this has been a very important topic for me. So why I have been forced to learn self-leadership during my career, and so I thought I might discuss some kind of a turning points or learnings from these different angles. The first one on the left, up left, is that I was quite young when I already ended up without having a boss in the same building. So actually I had a boss in the same town in the first place, but he quite much left me to survive. I was opening a hypermarket, and a new hypermarket, and I was something like 24 or 25, 24 maybe, or 25 anyway. And it is quite an operation to get together everything in that kind of a project. And I really enjoyed it. And I realized that I also really much enjoyed that my boss wasn't around very much. He would give me support and help whenever I needed it, but not that he was there all the time watching that, are you coping with this and have you done this? Nothing like that. He was away and would visit me every now and then to see how I was and how the project was proceeding. But I think it was already that time that I realized that this is actually the way that I like to work, that I have my own stuff and I can make my own decisions, and but also that I got help from him if I need it, which was good. And that was quite early on a very good experience on also managing and leading myself, as of course when you are opening a new hypermarket, you have a million things to get organized, and mainly I remember that I was all the time wondering that I forgot something. That was quite something to always writing down, that have you remembered this? What if I have not remembered to order something that is crucial for the opening, and I just haven't done that. But anyway, we managed it well, and it was a very, very, very nice experience, but also a good experience in leading myself in that kind of environment. I think we all also recognize that when we are leading others, we really, really first need to lead ourselves. People will always look at you when you are the leader and see if you are walking the talk, and how you are actually doing the things that you do, because you are always, when you are in the leader's position, you are also an example, and there is no way to avoid that, whether you like it or not. But people will look at you and see if you do it like you say it should be done, and take the example. And that way it is impossible to lead others if you are not able to lead yourself first, in my opinion. But you are welcome to challenge this if you like. Another very, very important thing in my career has been the possibility to work with a mentor. I got my mentor, who is a man and very, very senior, 11 years older than me, and very successful, well-known figure actually in Finland, in 2002. So I was 33 years old. It's nearly 20 years ago now, and when discussing with him, I really, really realized that how high the bar in self-leadership is for a leader. He was a CEO at a big Finnish company at the time, and we were not discussing this self-leadership topic necessarily as a topic of self-leadership, but when we were discussing how we organize our working days, how we think about different issues, what we actually do, and why we do what we do. Because time, of course, when you are a leader, is extremely crucial to know how and why you use your time. I realized when listening to him that, oh my goodness, is it this high? I mean, how well organized and how aware he was about the need to lead himself first. And another thing when working with a mentor, I think, why it is useful for your self-leadership is that you get to tell out loud what you think you should do better or what you should do differently. You either say it out loud, or like with us, I often wrote him what I thought I should develop in my practices or in my leadership, and then when you write it down or tell it to someone out loud, then you somehow need to work more on it. So in that sense, I also found working with a mentor extremely good for developing as a self-leader. Then down in the left, there's the cake. The cake is from my doctoral defense day. That was actually a surprise from the catering company who made the catering for my party after the defense. And surprisingly, they had made the cake like which said the title of my dissertation and all the rest of the facts from it. And why PhD study process is very good for your self-leadership is, once again, there is basically no boss. At least in my case, I was doing the PhD not at the university in a physical sense, but here in Joensuu in my own workroom or wherever I was. So I didn't have everyone guiding me all the time or seeing what I do or whatever. Of course, I had a supervisor. Every PhD student has a supervisor, but it was mainly based on that whenever I needed help from my supervisor, I would contact her and tell her what the problem was or where I needed any support from her. But otherwise, I was doing it totally on my own. And when you do a PhD, you can actually easily use hours, days, weeks, even months in a way that does not really clearly be there in the final work. You do a lot of things that will never ever end up in the dissertation, because you have to know things much more than just the ones that you write down. So I sometimes even had a joke that you, as a PhD student, you can use a day to write 2 sentences, and then in the next morning you will first erase those 2 sentences. So nothing is left from the work you did yesterday, and then you start over. And that may sound really stupid or strange from the normal entrepreneur's world. I know, I'm there in the other world too, in the practitioner world. But anyway, it's part of the PhD that you don't know when you write those 2 sentences if they are good or not. But so you just need to go on and keep the long-term focus and not to be too much sorry if you feel that, oh gosh, I've done all this work and now I realize that actually it's not part of my dissertation, because it's a bit offside in a way. Well, I will not bother you more with this PhD thing, but anyway, it is something where you really need self-leadership if you want to get it done. The entrepreneurship is something we a bit discussed just a minute ago, and as we all know, it's impossible to be an entrepreneur if you are not able to lead yourself, because there is not anyone else, I think. Or if you have other people that will lead you when you are an entrepreneur, maybe then, but I don't. Basically, there are not. And finally, the role of the chair or a board director. What does it have to do with self-leadership? Is that integrity is extremely important, and kind of a independence of thinking when you are a board director or the chair of the board. Again, there are no bosses. Of course, the owners are kind of your boss, but they will not come into the boardroom and see what is going on. Well, in some cases they may be there, but not always. And also you need to make sure that you keep your position independent. For example, you as a chair of the board, even if you work very closely with the CEO, well, at least I do when I'm the chair, you still need to make sure that you don't get too close, so that you kind of may lose your integrity or the possibility to say things or do things that are not basically the ones that the CEO would like you to do. So you can't really become close friends with the CEO, even if you would really like him or her or would like to be friends, but you still need to make sure that you can work efficiently in the role rather than be close friends with those people, because it is a work role and a position of trust that and you need to make sure you are able to do whatever you have to do. Okay, so just tiny glimpses from my prior career and my current career that have to do with self-leadership, and I will now move on and share some ideas with you about how I think self-leadership comes out, or what kind of things would be good to recognize and to work with when you want to practice good self-leadership. And like I wrote down in here, presenting these certain practices or issues to you does not mean I'm very good at all of these, but I know that these are some issues that are worthwhile working with. Firstly, knowing where you want to go sounds very easy. It's very easy to say this, but I think this may be, at least for me, one of the most difficult ones, because saying no is very difficult, at least for me. I can admit that, but I have realized that it is very, very important to learn to focus, because if we do something, if we are able to find the good focus, what we want to do, I think many of you have heard that it is important to find something that you are passionate about and then keep very interested in it, which means that you get all the time better in the very thing that you have chosen to be your focus, and what is something that interests you from day to day in the long term. But on the other hand, when you get asked to do something a bit else or very different, it is sometimes very tempting, at least for me, to say, oh yes, that would be a great experience, why not? But the problem, at least for me, is that if you end up doing something that is not in your focus, you need to use a lot of time in doing that, which means that it takes you finally off the very focus you have chosen. And because doing things that you are familiar with is much more quicker and much more easier. And then when you end up in totally something else, well, if it is a decision you do that, yes, this is something I want to learn, this is something I want to use my time with, and this takes me wherever I want to go, yes, great, fine, go there. But if it's something that does not have to do anything with the way you have chosen to go to, then you should just say, no, I'm sorry, but this is not anything that I'm able to use my time with. Again, time is extremely valuable, and we should be aware where we use it. Another thing is the lenses through which we look at the world. This is, again, like many things in self-leadership, an awareness issue. That are we aware how we look at the world, and also are we able to calibrate our lenses a bit? Can we look a bit differently of those things, or to calibrate, knowingly calibrate what we are going to look at. I think we are all aware of the thing that we notice things from our current environment very differently. Of course, as we all know, we get so much different information, and we see different texts, we hear different voices, whatever, during the day, so much that we will never ever be able to have it all in, which means that we are very selective in what we notice. And it would be a great thing if we could awareingly change a bit that what we want to notice. Do we want to notice some specific signs? The old saying about this is when you are pregnant, you see pregnant people everywhere, or if you want to become pregnant, you easily start to see them everywhere. Or if you decide to spot all the red cars around, you will see red cars all the time. And it is the very same thing in this, that if you want to spot things that would help you to get forward, you are able to do that if you decide so. Okay, let's move forward. This, again, I'm sure is something you are familiar with, and it is closely related to what I just said about calibrating your lenses, but also changing the perspective, and also trying to make new interpretations of the same situation. This, of course, is extremely helpful when something happens that you didn't want to happen, and how can we make it feel different? I think one thing what I need to do quite often relating to this issue, that when something goes wrong, for example at work, and you realize that you need to do a lot more work with, for example, some customer that you didn't realize when you started working with him or her, that oh gosh, there are very many issues that I didn't realize when we started with this, and now I have to find out something or do something that I didn't realize that has to be done, and something I don't necessarily be where I'm not very good at the moment. What I try to do in those situations is that I just decide that, okay, this is certainly an opportunity to learn. I now have to use, for example, several days to really get to the roots of this problem and understand what is going on, and understand how we can solve this thing. Many days that I didn't know that I would have to do. But anyway, there will be days that I will learn new things, and most certainly I will be able to use those learnings later on in life. Very, very likely. So there is no point in being too sorry for a long time that I didn't see this coming. Well, we all know things happen that we can't control, but we just really have to learn how to make new interpretations, how to react, and choose our attitude differently. You are very aware of this, I'm sure, but it is, again, for me too, something that is good to keep in mind when the situation comes. Another thing, I was already talking to you about how important having a mentor has been for me. I have also been mentoring many people after that, because as I have really got a lot of help, new ideas, energy, support from my own mentor, I have been very willing to share that again forward. I think that is important. But of course, it can be also colleagues. Also in this V-Power program, we have had this peer mentoring program. I was actually listening to Anu and Megan earlier today, how they have been able to support the other in their peer-to-peer mentoring. But I think most important thing is to understand that people actually want to help each other. So if you ask for help, it is very rarely that no one would come and say, yes, I will help you. And also that if you just talk to someone, it will help to clear your thoughts. Even if the other one didn't say much or couldn't really give you straight instructions that this is how you go on. No, but when you are talking to someone and trying to clear your thoughts, it will certainly help you, and also increase your energy. And also you will give someone else a gift, because I think you know this, that when helping others, we also always feel better with ourselves. So it goes both ways in these situations too. Then this is also something I'm not actually sure if other languages, at least in Finnish, we have a saying that you run beside your bicycle. So this is where I'm referring to with this title, that if you have a bicycle, well, you should hop and try to cycle rather than try to run, because cycling is so much easier and faster than running. And it very often requires that you stop for a moment whenever you feel that you are very, very busy, and it is the most difficult time to stop and think and pause and then start cycling. But again, it is the thing that you should do. This is something I have realized that I quite often end up discussing when I talk to young people in their first supervisory position. Because when you have a very small team, and for example, a very small unit where you work as a supervisor, it is so much quicker and easier when you don't stop to think about it. You try to increase your own working hours and your own input into the work, rather than organizing the others and leading others to do their work better, to get the whole thing done, whatever you are doing. So of course, it is one way of leading as an example to do a lot of work, but we all know that it doesn't lead to very sustainable results if you try to solve the problem of organizing by just putting more work hours in. So it would be better always to stop and realize how I could help others to help me, and how should this be organized, or what kind of templates I could do for my work, for example. It's very different things depending what we do, but I think most of us, including me, would have a very many solutions for more time by organizing a bit better. And another thing, considering organization and organizing your days, is of course that it's very important to understand and also learn all the time that what works for me. we are not the same in this. For someone, nights are the best time to work, but at least for me, it is very much the mornings. So the very first hours in the morning when I wake up are the ones when I should tackle the most difficult tasks and complex issues and create new things. So if there is something totally new I have to write or do, it's best to do that first thing in the morning. And in the afternoon, I can go back to the for example, the thing I did yesterday morning, and then see a little things, find new things to it and whatever. But the mornings should not be wasted to anything very easy. And I often try not to have at least easy meetings in the mornings or something like that, because it would be good if I have had the first 3 hours, for example, in the morning. I've basically done everything I have to do that day if I can do it first thing in the morning. But we are different in this, I'm sure, and there is someone has already commented that there is another morning person too, but it may well be that your type is very different. But find it and try to organize your day accordingly. That is the point, of course. Another thing we all are aware of, but it's always worth of noting that sleep is crucial. And there is actually some quite new research results from the University of Boston in which they found that deep sleep actually washes your brain. So it's very good if you can preserve enough sleep and make sure that you get this deep sleep, and therefore your brain stays more clear and well functioning also. I think all of us who are mothers have become very aware of this issue, as when you get the baby, even if this one is sleeping so beautifully in this picture, that it is, I suppose, the thing that very many of us remember from the time, or some of you may be at that stage with your children right at the moment, that when the children are very small and they are not sleeping very well, it is normally at least then, if not before, you realize that how important sleeping can be when you are taking it away for a while. But also later in life, it is very easy to sleep too less if you have so many interesting things in life, as many of us do. But still, take care of your brain and let the washing machine work. That is extremely good for all of us. But now I think it's been a long and lonely talk, and I will again stop here. And now we will also take a tiny break. And what I would like you to do now is to have a small break, grab a cup of coffee or whatever you like, but also to think that what would be your best tip or two, or how many you want that you would like to share with us. We will now take at least let's take 15 minutes from here, so that I will not be talking, but we can have a small break, and at the end of the break, so that would be 14:05, I think, or is it? Yes. Let's have a. What Satu would you say? What would be a good time to come back? And please write to the chat at least one tip that you want to share with us during that break.
Hello, I was wondering that maybe we could start at 2 again, so everybody has a few minutes time to get some coffee or do other things needed, and maybe write down some comments if they wish. So what do you think? At 2 o'clock? Already?
Yeah, well, no, 5 past at least. So
5 past, that
yes.
would be enough. Okay.
Yeah, 5:02. Yes.
Okay, let's have a short break then.
Okay, let's have a break. And please write down your tip. I'm sure you all have one and even more, but at least your best one, please. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm not sure if we had some issues with the chat. Satu, can you hear me? The other Satu again.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Are we okay with the chat? Or
well, I'm trying to get some reactions from the participants, so I'm not sure yet. I've tried to send a direct message to Päivi and also message to some other participants. I'm not hearing any response yet. So Päivi is availability now for the chat. Good. Thank you, Päivi. Thanks for confirming. And I think that, what do you think, Satu? Could we now maybe have some people showing their faces through the video contact and also maybe first raise their hands and share the video so they can maybe present their tips or share their thoughts?
I think that is, should I stop sharing for a moment with this presentation so we could put
yeah, that's possible because I have written.
Yes, let's do that.
Question is in the chat box.
So. Okay, yes. Okay, yeah, there is Stephanie commenting that yes, you need to set each day with setting priorities and main tasks. That is exactly a good way. Is it then able to stick to that plan at least? Well, I must admit that it is not always easy. Whenever I have a list what I'm going to do, sometimes it is easy to stick to that, and sometimes it's not that easy to stick to that. But yes, it is a good way to make a plan. Please put your microphones on and comment on how you do. Oh yes, not to skip pauses, says Satu, and that is a very crucial thing too. What else?
Yeah, you can just start your video and open your microphone and comment if you wish.
Yes. Yes, try to make a to-do list and stick to it. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I actually think it's somehow very concrete and nice when you have a to-do list. I have it in paper in Britain, or in old-fashioned way. So I like to then take it over whenever it's done. So it's nice if you can see after the day that now I've completed at least 5 things from my list, which makes you feel much better. I will actually come back to this issue at the end of this presentation too. And take a walk in the woods, says Päivi, and that is another thing I really like to do. And I actually today also did that already with my dog, and it's really, really nice. I hope very many of you have the possibility of taking breaks outside and walking in the woods. Yes, I agree with Heidi about this normal paper. It's somehow much more comforting compared to the thing that you erase it from a computer totally, because then it vanishes like it was never there. And sauna, yes, sauna is a good thing too. Yes, that is in my list as well. Not every day though, but many times a week, quite often, at least a couple of times a week. Yes, professional development, as Stephanie says. Yes, a definite yes to that. I actually use, I think every day, a couple of hours to that, as I for example, this morning I was listening to a webinar to board members. I think board members do that quite a lot because we normally don't have the work team in a similar way than normal people, normal workers would do. A basic team that you work with every day, for example. Our teams vary all the time, so we need to be quite careful to take care of the personal professional development ourselves, because normally no one else is really not taking care of that. Yes, anything else? I think that is quite good. Sauna, yes. I wonder if our members from abroad would do that. Sauna or not? Maybe not, I think. So what we could do now is to continue with this. You are still very welcome to comment also in the microphone or in the not many saunas in Canada, no. You are very welcome to comment either by microphone or chat. I'm happy to come back to those tips whenever something comes to your mind. But what I will do now is a couple of final words still on the topic that how to move forward with these issues. And one thing, of course, is that if you want to change the result, or if you want to end up somewhere else than where you are now, you really need to change something, do something different. And first, if you change your thinking, then it will lead to the change of your doing, and only that will lead to a different result. There is a saying, at least in Finnish, that you must be mad if you think that doing the same thing that you have done so far will lead you to a different result, as it's just not going to happen. Well, of course, the environment can sometimes change, and as a result of that, you may end up to a different place. But normally, you will get the same result if you do the same thing that you have done so far. That is just how it is, and it's very important for us to remember that as well. Yes, that is the definition of insanity. It is. Yes, exactly. So, and of course, it is not like it should be huge things that we change. It may actually be very, very small things that we change. And I sometimes think about it as paths that we are now at some point. And if we take the first step to the right, that will lead us to a different place than if we take the first step to the left and then continue going on via that path. And so it is a quite tiny difference, actually, that happens. But eventually, if we continue taking those even baby steps, we will end up to a different place. So that is actually very encouraging, I think, that you don't need to do huge changes to find a better balance, as we've discussed, and to find more time to do something. If you just decide that this is the thing I want to include to my days, for example. And if you would do 5 minutes something every day, 10 or 15 minutes something every day, you will get a huge load done if you do it every day. That's just how it is. For example, writing has been something that I realized that it's not always. For example, when you are writing a book, you don't every day feel that this is a great day and I will get huge results and great text. But if you just sit down on your computer and start writing, or at least doing something to the text you've already written, it will move the project forward, and someday it will be ready, surprisingly. But it just it takes even tiny steps, even some ideas, sentences every day, for example, and finally there is the book, and it's ready. That's how it is. Okay. Also, like I already said, if you had taken the first step right rather than to the left, it is different. But in the very same way, you can do small changes first in the way you think, and then in the way you do, and they will have in the long run the huge impact, and they will help you to change the end result and the way where you end up. Okay, now is still a small pause that I let you think for a while, that what would be a change that would help you to better well-being at work, for example, or to better results in whatever you are trying to do. What is the change you want to do, and why, and what would be the first step? Please stop just for a couple of moments to think about it. If you want to share it with us, please do. If you want to just write it down for yourself, that is allowed too. I will pause again for a very small moment, a couple of minutes, to let you consider what it would be do. And please write it down at least for yourself, if not for all of us, which is also very welcome. Would anyone like to comment on that?
Hi, Satu. It's Helena speaking.
Oh, hi, Helena. Oh,
check.
great to
Sorry,
have you
I
here.
couldn't participate from the beginning, but I have.
Well, you've had a busy week, I know.
yeah. I was somewhere else, but I have heard your similar training before, and personally, I had to make some changes in the early summer. I went to doctor and got some, well, not bad results, but not so good results from the blood tests. And suddenly I got some medicine, and suddenly I got the push to really, well, eat healthier and so on. So I noticed that when you have the good enough reason, the change is quite easy to make, and it was also helpful to get tools for the everyday life, very helpful, and like the external push, but most importantly the internal motivation. So then the change was quite easy to make finally, and now I got some control blood tests, and now all the values were much better than 3 months before. So I surprised also myself about the ability of self-management when you really have the good motivation.
Yes, start with why, as we all know. It's very good to hear that, Helena, that you have found ways how to end up in the better results, because as we all know, it's the very basis for the well-being that we get health issues in as good condition as possible. Of course, there are some issues that we can't really always influence, but the ones we can, it's really important to do those when and when you find the why, it is much easier. That's very right. So there is oh yes, Kaija had to leave for another meeting, I see. So are we having any other comments on that? Please do. Thanks for Helena for sharing that. Yes. Priorities. Yes. Yes. And the daily to-do list. Yes, you really need to test it, but yeah, that's right. And the thing that Päivi says here, that you can't get new things in if you are not able to let go something else. That is very true. Then and I have found also that it's sometimes a bit scary to let go of something that you still could do, but it's not anyway in the very focus on what you are doing, and somehow is that, can I let this go? But always when you let something go, something new will come in, and often it is more in what you are about to do and what you really want to do. So when you get space, some new things will come in. That is certainly true. Yes, and sleep, as Stephanie here comments, micro breaks. Oh yes. I must admit that I often do some domestic work on my micro breaks. I love baking, so I often have a duff that I have to go and see, or something in the oven. So my micro breaks are often baking, and it's really nice. Excuse me. Yes, mercy is very important too. Okay, I muted myself for coughing.
Yes, you do that. So take your time, have a sip of water. Any other things you're planning to do differently going forward? Thanks for commenting, Sini. Okay, Heidi, micro breaks.
Yes, really good comments, and as we can see, they don't have to be rocket science or anything. It's very normal things in our everyday life that really matter in this issue, and they are doable. But it's just that they have to also be done, not just in our thoughts, even if it's a good start to have them in our thoughts. I thought I would still share one thing, and one idea, which is this, that as already mentioned a couple of times, it all really comes down to time. How we use our time. Do we have a feeling that we have used our time well? And this idea that when you go to bed in the evening and think about your day, are you satisfied and happy about how you used the time you had that day? And I want to emphasize that this is not necessarily that have you used it super efficiently and done a million things. If that makes you happy, fine. But it can also be that you have had a wonderful day with your family, or outside walking in the woods, baking, whatever you like to do. But anyway, that you have used your day in the way that you feel that you want to use it that way. That is most important, in fact, for your happiness and well-being. I think many of us are quite target oriented and want to get those lists done. I do as well, at least in most days, but not necessarily every day. If I decide that this is the day when I do something else, this is the day when I like to take a 2-hour walk in the woods, I can do that. I'm aware that that makes good for me. It makes good for my physics. It makes good for my brain, my mind, and I want to do it. And then it's really great. So it can be very many different things that make you happy and make you feel well. And when you are aware of what that is, it's really great feeling in the way I wanted to do it. Actually, I can, as we have a couple of minutes still, I thought I could tell you a story that relates to this saying. I think I have about read this in some magazine years ago, but I have not been able to find out who has previously said that. I would like to mention him or her in here if I knew who it was. And I then thought that this could well be Markku Ojanen, who is a famous happiness professor, psychology professor, but we call him happiness professor, as he has studied happiness most of his life. And I wrote, I don't know Markku, or I didn't know Markku when I wondered that maybe it was him. And I wrote him an email saying that, hi, I'm Satu, and I'm wondering if it's you who has said this, as I know that you have been researching this topic a lot, and it may well be you. And I would like to refer to you when I use this sentence in my presentations. And Markku answered me quite soon by email. He said, hi, nice that you emailed me. I would like to be the person who said that because it's very well said, but it's not me, I'm afraid. And I know he has written, and I told him, I know you have written very many books on this. Maybe it's one of those books where it is in. And he said, no, it's not me. It's still a mystery where I have read it. It's something like it's not totally word by word like this. But Markku also said to me that in fact, this is how happiness is very much. So it could well be also based on science put like this, even if it's not a phrase from his mouth as a happiness professor. We also ended up writing each other more broadly and sending each other our books and stuff. That was very wonderful, because I then learned to know this famous happiness professor who is a very nice person, in fact. He has retired from the University of Tampere, but is still very active in these happiness issues. So that was quite nice. So I think we have nearly used our time, but I would be really happy to still hear some comments or questions if you should have those. Yes, here is Heidi puts here Markku Ojanen's web page. He's very good. He's written excellent books on the topic of happiness. Yes, but here is some scenery from Finland, some birch trees, and this is how it is in here at the moment, I would say. But I would like to wish you very nice autumn, and all the best, and very well balanced doing whatever it is you are doing. So any more comments from here? No, I think I could now stop this share. And well, I'm also in the V-Power group, I think, in LinkedIn too, but feel free to connect with me if you like. Thanks for participating, all of you.
Thank you, Satu.
Yes.
We will start a project member meeting now, and we will skip to Teams. And on our behalf, thank you for this lovely afternoon.
Thank you all, and thanks for the project. It's been really, really great, and I'm very sad and sorry that it's coming to the end. But well, all the good things end up at some point, I'm afraid.
Thank you.
Okay, but have a nice rest of the day. Good.
You too.
Good meeting. Bye.
Bye.